So Kawhi Leonard signed his contract today for the Clippers. There were a lot of rumors that he wanted a longer deal, but he chose a 2+1 basically, and it matches Paul George's contract pretty much exactly in terms of money and years and all that. So this is pretty interesting, and I think it does give the Clippers a bit more pressure than we were perhaps ready to give them, because there's a chance that after the 2021 season, Kawhi and Paul George could be gone. You have to assume they both decline their player options. And yeah, the idea is, okay, you guys will then re-sign with us for the new max, and because you guys have been in the league longer. I understand all that, and there's definitely a possibility that that is what happens with this. That being said, I think there is also a chance that things could maybe not go as well as we think they will. For one, it's not like Kawhi and PG have been the models of health throughout their career. Paul George, of course, horrific leg injury, and then he just had some shoulder thing, which could have been a rotator cuff thing. Kawhi has had the quad, and even as he was playing amazing all throughout the finals and everything, there were still moments, if I'm remembering right, where it did seem like the quad or the leg or lower body or whatever was kind of bothering him a little bit. Now, it's certainly a lot better than it was, but if one of these dudes ends up missing a lot more time than we think over the next couple of years, that could kill the whole vibe of the team, and that can be the kind of thing that can draw a guy to leave and go somewhere else. Is there also a chance that they're simply not as good as we think? I mean, I would not bet on that one, but perhaps instead of going to a finals and whatever else, maybe they lose in like the conference finals both years to whoever. Like maybe the Rockets pull off a crazy trade. Maybe the Warriors are still really good once Clay gets back healthy. Maybe LeBron and AD are just like God mode. These are all possibilities. I understand if you want to have the Clippers be the favorites. Totally fair. And when I do my predictions for the season, I might pick them to win the finals. But these things are never set in stone, right? So if these things occur, then once again, we could see one of these guys leave, both of them leave, whatever it might be. But the other thing is we could even start to hear those rumors, because when it comes to a 2+1 contract, you could effectively say it's a 1 year, because with the way that guys are getting it out there early now of, oh, I'm going to go to this team, I want to get traded, whatever, player empowerment, which for the most part I'm fine with unless people are being assholes, which I don't think anybody was really an asshole this offseason, so that's cool. These things can happen, right? And if that's the case, are the Clippers going to start sniffing around a year from now because things have not gone super well, and oh crap, do we have to trade Paul George now because he's going to opt out of his contract and leave? I mean, I might be putting the tinfoil hat on, but with where we've seen the NBA go in terms of player movement the past couple years, tinfoil hat might be a requirement at this point. There's also the chance that some other super team is formed, because with how sign-in trades are nowadays, you really have no idea who's going to end up where. And of course, as we just saw with the Paul George trade, you really might not know who's going to end up somewhere. And the other thing that would be interesting here is, what assets do the Clippers really have to improve from this point? They do have some. They have Mo Harkless's $11 million. Mo is not a bad player, and it's an expiring. They also have their next 2 first-round picks. I thought they only had their next one, but I guess I just screwed that one up. So they have 2020 and 2021 for picks. Now, Stepien rule might throw some weird things into which one you can actually move, if you'd have to create protection, stipulations, whatever the hell. But if they really want to get off of those picks, I'm pretty sure they can do it. So that right there can get you an actual player. You could also put together Mo with Harrell's contract. That gets you to around 17. Harrell, potentially a very good player. Now, you probably want to keep him, but in case someone becomes available and you really feel like taking a swing, there's that. There's Jerome Robinson. There's Shamet, who I'm sure a lot of teams would love to have. So they do still have some tradable stuff to get one more guy, because for as much of the good stuff that they have, and the fact that they already have like their third scorer in place with Lou, they might want something, whether it's a center or like maybe just an improvement from Zubac, if anything. I mean, I don't know. They seem pretty freaking loaded, if you ask me. Well, as loaded as you can be with like really good role players and stuff, but you never know. There could be some move they want to make. So if it does get to some emergency protocol type of thing because something is going wrong, they do have that. But, I mean, I guess we should also think about something that I don't typically talk about that much because I'm a robot. The personalities. I mean, can PG and Kawhi really click like that? Both of them seem pretty laid back. I mean, I guess PG is a little more outgoing than Kawhi, but I don't know. Like in some weird world, could this be another James Harden, Dwight Howard thing where we have two dudes who are perhaps not confrontational and their relationship isn't the best, and then they lose in some tough playoff series, and then the rumors start coming out where it's like, well, they don't really hate each other, but they could be closer. It's kind of like what you hear with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid right now. Now, I could be totally wrong on these things, but again, we do need to open up some sort of a doomsday scenario, even if it might look great. I mean, the Celtics taught us this season, you can never be totally sure. I mean, hell, Westbrook and KD, sometimes it was unlucky stuff, but those two never won a title together, and that would have been crazy to say way back, like after they lost to the Heat in the finals, right? Other things, of course, happened, but the point is, other things can happen all the time. So this all comes back to, once again, the shorter contracts. And I'm just saying, if for whatever reason it just doesn't look as amazing as we picture it being right now, and then suddenly the Clippers are like, oh crap, these guys are actually not here for that long and we need to convince them to stick around. But it's probably going to go really well because this team's super deep. They still have picks. They have... Is it fair to call Kawhi the best player in the NBA? I think it is right now. And then PG, who was definitely top 10 this previous season, so it could be totally fine, but I'm just saying. Short contracts, whatever the hell else.